Jets, what is going on, Jet fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Jets Ward. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I got a fun one for you today. But first, if you have been here before, welcome back. You know I love having you guys here in the Jets Ward with me. You guys make this so much fun, and I enjoy making these videos for you. If you are new here, welcome. Whether you're a Jets fan or a fan of another team, or just a casual NFL fan trying to get into it more, you know you're always welcome here in the Jets Ward. This is a safe space for you. Now, I told you I had a fun one for you, and I promise you I do. And big thing that's been going on lately, the NFL, there have been so many things happening, chaos going around with these different trades, Steelers and the Dolphins trading with each other, Dolphins and the Giants trading for Darren Waller, going to the Dolphins now. There have been so many cool and crazy things going on, and it got me thinking, with all of these tight end trades, Johnny Smith going to the Steelers, and Darren Waller going to the Dolphins, what other tight end trades could there be? And I got a couple of them that I think could happen, especially now since it seems like tight ends are all the rage right now in the NFL. So getting into it, the first one, and this guy's name has been coming around in rumors a ton, and I think I got perfect spots for them as well. The first one is Mark Andrews from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, his name has come up in a lot of trade rumors this offseason. He's been a long-time Raven, and he's been very, very successful. And you can tell by the numbers that he was very successful last year as well. He's 29 years old. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. He had 55 catches last year for 673 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 12.2 average yardage per game. He is a long-time Raven. You can see he was a captain of the team too. He was somebody that Lamar Jackson relied on a ton. The reason I see him getting traded, though, is he's getting older, and they have two tight ends right now on expiring contracts. He is one of them who's on the last year of his deal, and they got a younger tight end, Isaiah Likely, who's on the last year of his deal as well. I think Isaiah Likely is getting better and better, and he's younger. I think Likely will take over as the starting tight end in Baltimore this year. I honestly do. I think the relationship between him and Lamar has gotten a lot better, and I think Mark Andrews is due for a new start, a fresh start. And what team needs a tight end desperately right now? The New York Giants. They just traded Darren Waller. I get it. He was retired last year. But if he did come out of retirement and decided to play for them, he would have been their number one tight end. The other tight end they have is Theo Johnson, who is very young, and there's still some stuff that he could do. But on a lot of teams, he'd be the number 2 or 3 option at tight end. So I think the Giants desperately need a starting tight end with a lot of experience. Mark Andrews is the guy. Now, it might cost you a pretty penny to get him, maybe a 3rd-round pick, maybe a 4th-round pick and another player or something like that. But Mark Andrews could really help out that offense, especially when Malik Nabers is your only weapon other than Kyron Tracy. So I think Mark Andrews be a perfect fit for the New York Giants, and would start out as the number 1 tight end and be a perfect complement to Malik Nabers as well, and would be a solid option later down the road when Jackson Dart starts to take over for the New York Giants. So right now, Russell Wilson would probably love to have him as a tight end, and Malik Nabers would probably love to have another option to complement him. So Mark Andrews to the New York Giants, I think, would make a ton of sense for the New York Giants and for the Baltimore Ravens. The next tight end, another one who's had so many rumors around him, Kyle Pitts. His name came up in trade discussions with the Miami Dolphins when they traded Johnny Smith. Kyle Pitts, I think, is still a young, untapped type of receiving option. I think he could dominate games. He is a matchup nightmare. It's just hasn't been the perfect fit with the Atlanta Falcons. I honestly think if he were to be traded to the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs would love him and open up so much potential for this kid. As we know, Travis Kelce's not getting any younger. He's looked like he's lost a step. He had a decent year last year, but still, there were games where he just disappeared. Patrick Mahomes ain't getting any younger either. That defense is still solid, but you need more weapons. They don't have a number 1 star at receiver either. You could argue Xavier Worthy. You could argue Hollywood Brown, but those are good complement pieces and lower end number ones maybe. Bring in Kyle Pitts, and then you can get a major weapon who I think would complement all of these pieces so well. He's not a blocker, but put him as a bigger slot, and he could be a matchup nightmare. He's still only 24 years old, so he could be your tight end of the future as well. He's on the last year of his deal, so you could extend him and keep him there for long term. He's 6'6", 250 pounds, had 47 receptions last year, 602 yards, 4 TDs, and 12.8 average yardage per game. Kyle Pitts, I think, is so underrated. He's somebody I've wanted for the Jets for a while. I love Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to be a monster in this league. It just hasn't really worked out in Atlanta. I think if he goes to the Chiefs, it could be a solid option, and they can finally unlock that talent that this kid desperately has. And I think he could be an amazing player in Kansas City and give them a solid threat in the offense. And continuing on, we get to our third one. Got Michael Mayer. Again, another player who's had tons and tons of options and a lot of rumors around him. And Miami, again, they were interested. They called the Raiders about him, but no deal got done. I think Michael Mayer would be a perfect option in Jacksonville. Give Trevor Lawrence a solid tight end who has good receiving capabilities. You won't be seeing it from these numbers, but he's still young and he's a solid blocker. I think there's more receiving in his game. He just needs to unlock him. And with Brock Bowers there, he's not going to get a lot of those. So he's 23 years old, still a young player. 21 receptions last year, 156 yards receiving, 0 touchdowns, 7.4 average. Jacksonville, I think, would be really good for him. Look what their head coach now, Cohen, as when he was the offensive coordinator last year with the Bucs, look what he did with Cade Otton. He turned him into a legit threat as well. So I think Michael Mayer could be a fantastic option for the Jacksonville Jaguars and somebody who I think would love to have a player like him, and it would be a major upgrade for their tight end position as well. So Michael Mayer to the Jaguars, I think, would be a great option. And getting into my last one, like I said before, Johnny Smith was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that room is very crowded right now. You got Johnny Smith, you got Pat Freiermuth, and you got Darnell Washington. I honestly think Pat Freiermuth isn't getting traded, and the player that might be on the chopping block is Darnell Washington. And honesty, I would love him for the New York Jets. I honestly think he has such great blocking capability that he would come in and just be that enforcer in the run game. The Jets are going to run the ball a lot this year. They have Justin Fields as their quarterback, who's a running quarterback, who can throw, but he's a really good runner with the football. You got Breece Hall, who is a stud at running back as well. Braylon Allen, who's a power back. Isaiah Davis, who's a power back. And you got Donovan Edwards, who can be a solid option if the Jets were to keep him as a fourth running back. Darnell Washington is a monster of a man. He's 6'7", 264 pounds. He's only 23 years old. He had 19 receptions last year for 200 yards, had 1 touchdown, and 10.5 yards average per game. The guy can be a receiving threat. He's got good hands, and people struggle to take him down. I honestly think the Jets need more power in their tight end room. I love Mason Taylor. I think he's going to be a stud. He can already showing out with his receiving ability, and I think the blocking ability will come as time goes on. Jeremy Rucker, I do like as well, but I think there's a lot that he needs to prove still. Stone Smart is a great receiving option, not a blocker. Kuntz, I don't think, will be on this team. Zach Kuntz. Bring in Darnell Washington. I think you can have a legit blocking threat as a tight end and somebody who's, I think, fits this aggressive new offensive scheme that I think the Jets are going to have. So I think Darnell Washington, he's young. He fits the age group that the Jets are looking for. He's a mountain of a man who's a great blocker and I think could be a red zone threat as well. And he has connection with Justin Fields already because Justin Fields was the Steelers quarterback last year. So there's a relationship, a connection already. And you know Justin Fields loved throwing it to the tight ends. So Darnell Washington has a relationship with him already. I think it makes a lot of sense for the New York Jets to trade for Darnell Washington. And I don't think it'll cost you a lot either. Maybe a 6th-round pick, maybe a 5th. But again, who knows? Maybe the Jets could trade Allen Lazard for him straight up. You never know. Aaron Rodgers is there, and he loves some Allen Lazard. So Darnell Washington to the Jets, I think, makes a ton of sense at this point. But guys, Let me know what you think down in the comments. These are all the tight ends that I think could still be traded. I mentioned Pat Freiermuth. He could be somebody on the move. I doubt it, though, because he's more of a blocking threat. Jonnu Smith more of the receiving threat. So I think those two complement each other. I also think, too, that Arthur Smith, he's the offensive coordinator of the Steelers. He doesn't like throwing to tight ends. So, and Aaron Rodgers, as we know, didn't like throwing to tight ends either. So I think Darnell Washington would be the one on the chopping block, and I think he makes a ton of sense for the New York Jets. But here are all the options that I had as tight ends that could still possibly get traded. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Is there anybody that you would put on this list that you think I might have missed? Is there anybody that you think that I put on my list has no chance of being traded? Let me know down in the comments. And again, thank you so much for joining me in the Jets Ward. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.